time to celebrate Boxing Day with Percy, James and the Fruitful Day, the 25th episode of this third series, based on the magazine story Percy Gets Jammed, written by Andrew Brenner. This is one of those episodes that shows off the rivalry between Percy and James, something that the CGI series would often play with. But is it a good way to start off their rivalry? Let's take a look. It is market day on Sodor, and James is on his way to the harbour when he sees Percy at Lower Sudbury. Percy is late with his line of trucks, as he should already be at the next station at that point. James tells Percy that engines should always be on time and puffs away importantly. Feeling resentful, Percy mutters bossy buffers under his breath and continues on his way. James arrives at the harbour to see all the wonderful, fresh, exotic fruits being unloaded from the cargo ships. James waits as his trucks are loaded, then sets off along the main line. During his journey, he meets Thomas and cannot resist boasting. No surprise there. Thomas tells Annie and Clabber that he knows that there will be trouble ahead for boastful James. Back at Lower Sudbury, Percy is busy shunting in the yard when the station master informs his driver that James's brakes are jammed and that Percy is to go and help him at once. Percy quickly sets off and soon finds James stranded on the main line, which gives Percy an opportunity to tease him. Percy's driver soon intervenes and asks Percy if he could push the trucks of fruit, to which Percy happily obliges. Soon Percy is coupled to the trucks and sets off, leaving James fuming. Percy is in a hurry and is not paying full attention to the line. With the trucks in front of him, he has not seen that the points have failed and that he had been diverted onto a siding. Percy's driver sees the danger and applies the brakes, but it is too late. The trucks run straight into the buffers and Percy crashes into the back of the van in front of him. His driver and fireman are jumped clear, but Percy gets squirted and covered from funnel to buffers in squashed fruit. The Fat Controller arrives and sternly reminds Percy that while the point failures are not his fault, the railway is not a jam factory. After that, Percy sadly puffs back home. That night at the sheds, all the engines are silent, with James and Percy feeling very sorry for themselves as they are now both in disgrace. Thomas breaks the silence by reminding everyone that there is more than one way to get into a jam, and that even when engines help each other out, things can still go wrong. One of the engines asks what the point is, and Thomas points out that it means they all learned a lot that day, and therefore they are all really useful engines after all, to which all the engines happily agree. This is one of those episodes that shows off Percy's rivalry with James the Red Engine, and as I said, it's something that would carry on through the TV series, especially during the Andrew Brenner era of the show. And I love the rivalry between these two in the episode, James being the one to start the argument.
What are you doing here, Percy? You should be at the next station by now. You're late.
I know, sighed Percy. These trucks have been troublesome all morning.
That's no excuse, Percy, snorted James. Nothing should stop us. The Fat Controller relies on us to be on time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way.
Bossy buffers, muttered Percy.
And then Percy getting his own back later on.
Got yourself in a jam, eh, James? What you might call a sticky situation. Be quiet, said James. It's not funny having jam brakes. And not very reliable either, teased Percy. I am surprised you let it happen, James. Nothing should stop us engines. That's enough, Percy, said his driver. Can you push these trucks? Of course I can, listened Percy. There's no time to lose. James has done too much of that already.
And it plays off to their different personalities, with Percy being the cheeky one and James being boastful and conceited. And his boastfulness is what starts off the fight between the two in the episode. And it's very satisfying to see Percy getting his own back later on. But rather than just one engine getting punished and the other engine getting off scot-free, both engines get their comeuppances in the end. Because James was in the wrong by boasting to Percy about how nothing should stop the engines and that they should always arrive on time, and Percy was also in the wrong for getting back at James using his own words against him. So both the engines got their karma, neither one of them was completely in the right. And it's a nice change of pace to see two characters get karma come back and bite them in the asses when they're both in the wrong. Because some TV episodes have two bad characters and one of them or sometimes both of them ends up getting off scot-free. But here it shows that neither sides can win when they're both in the wrong. Of course it would have been a different story if either one of these engines was in the right, but because neither one of them were completely in the right, it's very fitting that they both ended up getting their karma. And this is also the first time a character in the TV series angrily says be quiet instead of shut up. Since in the first two episodes it was very common for an angry character to say shut up to someone. but this was the first time they said be quiet rather than shut up. I suppose it was the 90s and they had to change things up a bit since shut up is really rude, and be quiet does sound kinda less rude than telling people to shut up. I don't know the real reason behind it, but I think that's the most likely reason. Since in the 80s nobody really thought twice about these sorts of things, but in the 90s things started to get a little bit more sensitive towards kids programs. So it was one of those changes that stayed throughout the TV series. And the scene where squash fruit squirts all over Percy is another one of those funny crashes in the TV series. Of course it's still played off seriously, as any crash scene should be in the TV series, but there's also a little bit of humour added to it after the crash happens, where the fruit covers Percy from funnel to footplate. It's just a combination of serious and funny at the same time. A nice combo of the two. And I think it's really nice how Thomas is the one that tells us the moral at the end of the episode. It just shows how much Thomas has matured since his introduction to the TV series.
There's more than one way to get jammed. We all learned that today. What's more, we also learned that sometimes when engines help each other out of a jam, things can still go wrong. So that means we learned a lot today, and therefore we're really useful engines after all.
And another little trivial fact I found out about this episode upon doing research is that it was first broadcast in the UK on Sir Ringo Starr's 52nd birthday. I was quite surprised to find that out when I did research for the episode, having it be aired on the birthday of the first storyteller for the TV series. It's really nice in my opinion. This episode is a nice fun episode that shows off the rivalry between James and Percy, two characters that would get their rivalry episodes in the future of the series, especially during the Renaissance era. It's a fun episode that may or may not get you in the mood for fruity snacks, and it's definitely worth checking out if you love funny entertaining episodes.